I have insurance, and so I don't need to focus on anything else other than just my physical well-being, because a bike is completely replaceable. And the fact that you have insurance and that you're protected and you're covered, all you need to do is focus on yourself and getting yourself better. Like, I'm going to try and I'm going to take risks and I'm going to take chances, because why else? Why would you not, right? I'm Alicia Speak. I'm 37. I'm a full-time lawyer, but I'm also a cyclist for Cycle Team London.
We've got a bit of excitement. Can you all join us in the Grand Tours, please, and stand outside our rainy tents and give us a bit of a cheer? It's lovely to have the breakaway at the Rouleur Classic. If anyone has been following the Grand Tours this year in Eurosport, you'll have seen that we've been doing something a little bit different, having an awful lot of fun and been really appreciating all the feedback that we've gotten on social media and all the different channels. So we thought we'd bring it to you this evening, and we've managed to, miraculously. We have got the band back together, so please welcome Adam Blythe, Brian Smith and Sir Bradley Wiggins. Woo! Oh, nearly went for the wrong cheek there. Oh, it's all getting a bit familiar here. Right, have a seat, have a seat. Welcome back, boys. How have we been?
I'm all right. These jeans got a bit tighter.
Yeah, the jeans got tighter. That's what happened. Congratulations, Adam.
Thank you.
He's retired. He's now former rider Adam Blythe, eh?
There has been.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All former riders, apart from myself. How have we been, though, everyone? Have you all enjoyed a bit of time off?
Yeah, terrific, yeah.
Oh, Brad,
no,
come
no,
on.
hey.
Come on, give us something.
Is this working? Hear me, yeah.
Can you hear Bradley?
No, just turn me up. There we go.
Turn them on.
No, I've been walking around London. I've come to London quite a lot, but it's weird. You always know the Rouleur Classics on. You've all got blokes in twos with Rafa t-shirts on. And they're all going to you, all right, Brad, how you doing? You're right. Yeah, all right, mate. You going to the Classic? You know I'm going to the Classic. I'm the bloody pamphlet. They're all in twos. It's like some male orgy going on somewhere tonight. It's weird, isn't it?
Well, welcome to the male orgy. It's lovely. And women
No,
as
that's
well.
next door.
I think that's a
Everyone
theme because Phil
welcome.
Anderson was talking about erections earlier, wasn't he?
Oh, God, please. We haven't even started yet.
I
Right.
walked in at the wrong time.
We've all come in at the wrong time, the wrong show. How have we enjoyed the breakaway? How have we enjoyed the season of racing, Adam?
I've enjoyed it. I've just not been a part of it enough. From my side of it.
Is that your
Eurosport.
job application for next year?
Yeah, exactly. No, I've thoroughly enjoyed
Got
it.
a bit of
I
weight
think
on
it's
since he stopped.
all right, Brad. Calm down. So have you.
Bought Henry VIII shoes off eBay.
Boys.
Yeah, check out. For anyone who's a fan of Adam's shirts, please check out the shoes tonight.
We've done well,
Something special. You do damage with those things. But yeah, you enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it. Yeah, I think it's been. I think it's been quite very honest. I think that's the main thing with it. I think we've
It was
said
a lot
what
better than
we've.
Jonathan Edwards, wasn't it? That's for sure.
Bradley,
That was, wasn't it?
behave.
I think what we spoke
I
about
love
is
Jonathan.
really the truth. And I think from what Brad said through his honesty, it's like now he's been very honest. But I think what we spoke about and what we saw is honestly the truth. We're not trying to like sugarcoat anything, what's happening. We've literally said the truth, and it's like bagging people.
Ooh.
It's what's that guy called that works for
Addy Engels, you've forgotten them already.
Yeah, Addy
Slated
Engels.
the pyramid.
No, but then people get, some bloke said to me today, oh, Brad, you just say what you think, didn't you? It's like, no, I don't. Trust me, if I said what I think,
That's still the filtered
I'd have
version.
Elton John tickling my nipples with a pink feather. You know, it's like, I don't just say what I think, you know.
I think there's more to come. There's definitely more to come. And
Not Roy Keane, don't worry.
no.
Yet.
Dumb and Dumber.
But I think we've touched on something that people want to hear. That people want to hear honesty.
No one wants to hear what you've got to say, Brian. Go straight.
They can't understand what I'm saying,
But one thing
So I
I
just
learned this year, Brian's never had the yellow jersey in the Tour de France.
and I don't smile.
You do smile. We get you smiling every now and
The
again.
Botox is kicking in now.
I love you guys.
Oh dear.
Love you,
Bradley,
Brian.
you said at the end of the Tour de France, while we're standing on the Champs-Elysees, just off the Champs-Elysees, you said that this has sort of reignited your love of the sport again. Do you feel that way?
That didn't. No, I said it was my best moment in cycling. Yeah. I feel like a different person now. So, I think it's a privilege, and I don't feel entitled to earn a living out of the sport. I love this sport. It's given me everything and continues to. And I think it's a real honour to be able to come and talk. And it's the only thing I know. And to be able to reiterate that to the public, I think it is an honour and it's a privilege. There's too many people retiring; they feel they have an entitlement to earn a living out of this sport. And we should don't laugh. I didn't.
No,
say a joke.
you'll have to look at the screen to see why they're laughing, Bradley.
Oh,
I
sorry,
think it's an
yeah.
appreciation.
Is that the day I had no trousers on?
You hit it well by distracting
but
the jacket.
that was brilliant. I loved it. You know, and that idea came that early meeting we had,
Yeah.
where I remember watching the Kellogg's Tour in '94 when Alan Piper was on the bike, and interviewing Brian when he had a tourniquet on his arm when he crashed. And I thought it'd be a brilliant way to bring that action, you know, and then obviously ASO, so you can't talk to Rise, right? Yeah, wait to say that.
Just
I love you.
Especially Spanish ones and French.
No, but you know, you're going through the peloton. They started talking to me. I started talking Spanish to the French bloke. But, it was a real honour to be in that, you know, and see it. And I remembered how hard it was watching the guys go out the back and stuff. And you know,
I don't know why you're looking at me when you say that, mate. Thanks.
well, apparently I raced with Adam. I never saw him.
Oh, that is brutal.
No, I did see
Adam,
him.
they've got your back.
No,
They've got your
he
back.
knows I
All
love
right,
him.
look, I dropped Bradley in the Tour of Qatar.
He knows I love him.
Tour of Qatar.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the Tour de France then, as a race? How did we find it? Alaphilippe, I mean, and Pinot, really. For me, they absolutely lit the race up. What did you think, Brian?
Well, the French had a party, for sure. Bardet missed the first start of the party. He never got the invitation, but he came good in the end, winning the King of the Mountains. Yeah, near the end by the King of the Mountains. But, you know, for the French, it was, you know, they had Alaphilippe with the yellow jersey for so long, and then they had Pinot climbing off. That made a bit of a difference. But, yeah, I think all we heard from Javier from the Unipublic earlier about the Vuelta, I think all Grand Tours have started to up their game. There's a lot of competition, and I think it's great to see. And I think the parkour for next year looks very interesting.
What did you think, Adam, of Alaphilippe in particular, and feeling that French love affair with the Tour again? It's not that they've ever fallen out of love with it, but it felt quite special being in the middle of all of that, didn't it?
Yeah, I think the most... Not better.
That's
I think
better.
the most impressive for me was his time trial. When he lost the yellow, we were like, right, that's it, it's done. He's never going to get yellow back again. He's going to be fighting for technically nothing. And when he got that yellow back, everyone was like, whew, this guy can go a long way, you know. It's a big thing. And I think the French, after that, to get behind him after the time trial, that really showed his strength in depth. So for me, watching the Tour with a Frenchman winning it to such late in the race, that made it a lot more exciting than just... This sounds awful, but just an Englishman like Geraint Thomas or Froome winning it, 'cause it's such what we know these days. Everyone's expecting them to win. So I think Alaphilippe coming in, it just had an all new chapter to the book, which, watching it from our side, you never know what was going to happen. You never know if he would explode. You never know when he would explode. So I think from our point of view, watching it from where we're sat, it made the race into something that you could never predict and you could never write a script of.
Yeah, it became unpredictable because the Tour is normally kind of formulaic, and it became unpredictable like some of the other Grand Tours, and it was great. And I think the finest moment for me in the whole Tour was Alaphilippe coming up that finishing climb into Pau for the finish of the time trial. Absolutely, you know, it was just electrifying.
What about our broadcast highlights then as well, Brad? I mean, we had Peter Sagan in the studio.
Him,
that was a lot
on
of
the
fun,
bike.
wasn't it?
He's bonkers, isn't he? I mean,
He is bonkers, though, and I find him completely unfiltered in that way. He's just
He
himself.
was lovely, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I recognise that a lot in him. He knows how much attention he's got, you know, and he's quite introvert and feels the need to perform, you know, and go, what? You know, it's like, all right, mate, yeah, what? I get it. Yeah. But yeah, he knows everyone's watching him all the time, and I think there's a need to perform, isn't there? And it's quite tough for him, you know. He's arguably the biggest name in the sport with the biggest personality, and he does a great job. And he got a lot of struggle in his personal life as well. So he did, you know. But Peter Sagan in green at the Tour is it's almost an institution now, isn't it? Like the Kelly years and the Zabel, and you know, you can't. The way the competition is now, they might as well give it to him for next year, you know. Because he can do everything, can't he? I mean, Adam's racing the same team as him. He's a phenomenal... And that was a bad year for Peter this year, you know? It was a disappointing year. Still won a bloody lot. He won more races than I won the whole year. Well, certainly more than him. I mean... but do you know what I mean? And that's the level he set that standard, doesn't he? You know, he's... yeah, you know, if he's not winning 40, 50 races a year, it's a disappointing year for him, isn't it? Yeah.
Speaking of tough times, just saw Sean Kelly there. I don't know if you realise he was doing his prep sitting on a tiny little ironing board, which is basically our dressing room for the duration of the
Cable Ewan.
Pardon?
Cable Ewan. Who? Cable Ewan.
Cable Ewan.
Cable Ewan.
None of us actually ever corrected Sean on air with
How
Cabaloon.
dare you correct the king?
Cabaloon. It wasn't even Cabaloon, it's Cabaloon.
You'd never correct the king.
How did you find...
I couldn't, whenever we were on stage with him, he's got a rinse through his hair, hasn't he?
Has he?
Yeah, but he's not done his chest. He's got grey hairs, whispering. Yeah. He's got this...
You should see him out running when
He
he takes
needs
his
to
top
take
off.
lessons
He's got
from
this
you,
Ginger
Bradley,
Steve
and match
Davis
the
rinse,
beard
yeah.
to the hair. You've got the rinse thing sorted.
You know what, Sean, I mean, we take the piss out of him.
Everybody.
But he's such a legend, isn't he?
Oh, he's amazing.
And
All-time great, yeah.
And he's one of us, isn't he? I mean, I got him on Snapchat this year. I got a cracking filter of him.
Oh, my, hang on. Please tell us more about Sir Bradley Wiggins and Sean Kelly on Snapchat,
His Snapchat
if you will.
is at the king. That's his Snapchat.
That's his Snapchat.
Yeah.
tag.
No,
if
he
anyone wants to add
distorted
into
his
it.
face and he was saying, you know, hello everybody, welcome back to the Tour de France.
I sent you that
That's
message.
just how he talks normally.
The voice was the same, but they give him subtitles.
So what about the Giro then? Let's go back to the very start of the season, Adam. Do you remember back that far? What were your highlights of that?
It's just that laugh. I didn't forget about the race. It was just that laugh in that studio. I think the main thing for that whole race, it was so exciting, but we just kept bagging Addy Engels.
Was that the day
I
we
can't
thought we
even
were going to
remember
get the
the name
sack?
who won it. It's really bad now.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Richard Carapaz
Richard
won.
Carapaz won it.
Carapaz.
But I remember the main thing is that when we're in the studio that day and I wore that shirt, which is a great shirt, I've still got it in the
Was anybody watching this bit? Do you know what we're talking about? Adam changed into his Hawaiian shirt halfway through our
Yeah, that was the
coverage.
main highlight. It's not racing as such, but the main highlight for me was that I just could not hold it together. And thank God Dad was there.
But in the
But you
studio,
know we were laughing at you, though.
in the studio, was all the HD screens in front of us, weren't they? Whenever he was up, he was just flat. It was like Art Attack. I just kept looking at this
What was he saying? It was
hyacinth waffle shirt with this, and it reminded me of Beetlejuice, the guys waiting in the waiting room with a little head. And he looked
He's
pregnant.
not got a little head.
He looked pregnant with boobs.
You said he looked like a pregnant Tyson Fury.
He did. And
There's an image you're not
I
gonna
was
forget.
crying. I actually wet myself a little bit. And Adam was looking at me. And I
The
think
worst
we all
thing
thought we were
was-
gonna,
yeah.
we all thought we were going to get the sack that day.
When I looked
They
at
were
him,
gonna
the
reel
worst thing
Bar
made it
Beck back
worse.
Yeah, it was funny.
Worst thing was
wasn't
what? Sorry, Adam.
It's when I looked at him. It's like now, if I look at him, I'll start laughing a little
But our
bit.
saving grace was that Brian's got no sense of humour. He brought it back, didn't he?
Yeah. Thanks to the
But
Scots.
you always need
Dad,
someone like me.
Dad,
you always need
thank you,
someone like
Dad.
me. Thank you.
But yeah, apart from that, it was just every day today was quite different about the Giro. We sort of knew what was going to happen in the long run. Well, actually, no, we didn't, did we?
We didn't know.
Because
we
you thought
didn't.
we
But you
thought
look
Rosset was going to
back.
win.
We didn't
You
know, Adam. We're
didn't,
not Paul
shut up.
McKenna.
You didn't know what was going to happen.
But
You're
Paul
going to put
McKenna
on
would
their
know.
own. I'm swiveling
Derek
around,
Agoura
I'm
would.
talking, I'm this, that, and the way. I'm retired
Adam's
now,
not been
leave me
asleep
alone.
for 2 days, has he?
No, but I think the beauty of it, we all thought Roglic was
Yeah.
going to win.
Yeah.
And then at the last minute, he just lost it completely. And I think what we thought of it was a lot down to his director. It was a lot down to the way the team played it that whole race. And I think he learned from that, from the Vuelta. I think he came in the Vuelta, he was a lot stronger. The team
All
was a
these
lot
people
stronger.
chatting over there. Why would you come in and listen to us and talk about the outcome of Brexit? And you've paid. Go out. Go and listen to Bar
Bradley,
Bet in the other room.
welcome them.
Yeah.
Welcome them in. It's lovely
No, but
to
they're
see.
chatting away, you know. I mean, come on.
Right, well, hang on. Well, let's talk about, we'll not talk about the outcome then. Let's talk about the Giro and how it panned out. Because I think it's fair to say, did people enjoy the Giro this year? Did you find it a little bit dull? Who said boring? Yeah. Anyone else find it a little bit boring as a race? I don't want to play
You
it down.
fucking have a go then.
But what's that down to? Is that down to how the teams race it? We can say that it's down to the director and the parkour and all the rest of it. But is it not down to the teams and the riders to make it more dynamic, Bradley? What, you're rolling your eyes at me?
I don't know. I mean, Ryan might be
all
all
of
flat
that.
out. You know, we all want to be able to moonwalk in life or tack like Pantone. Sometimes you've got to accept, haven't you? I mean, I don't know. The races, Adam will know because he's been there this year. It's getting faster and faster and faster. Nibali and them dudes guys are doing 450, 460 watts up a climb. And you're getting dropped. I'd love to be able to animate the race and do a varang. You know, I can't. And unfortunately, it comes across that, you know, it's getting faster and faster and faster, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Too
is.
hard,
Yeah.
Adam?
It is getting so much harder. I think the thing from it now is that
I think it's
Dave-
cool to say it's boring. I think, you know.
I think for the boring
have a go
days,
if you
the
think it's boring.
nowadays, is that when you get a sprint day, you know it's a sprint day. When you get a breakaway day, you almost know it's a breakaway day. There's
Bloody
no,
hard, you know, it's bloody
Is
hard.
it close? I think there was one stage this year, I forgot who won it, but it was mainly downhill all day. We predicted a bunch sprint, and they lost it by, I think the first place won. Obviously, first place won, but from the breakaway. From the breakaway.
All the inside analysis with Adam Blythe.
From the breakaway, first place won, and I think second was from the peloton. And I think 7th or 8th was from that break, and I think they just left it to the last minute. I forgot what stage it was now, but that's those stages that we miss in the Giro that we've not seen in a long time. And I think the races.
It was a brilliant race.
Yeah, but I think the races played a massive part in. This is a GC day, this is a sprint day, this is a breakaway day. And I think the more you watch the race, the longer you get into the race, it's almost like, right, the GC's done because they're so far ahead. Let's leave this up to the sprinters or the breakaway guys. And I think the deeper we got into the race, that happened.
But cycling does that now, doesn't it? They always try the last 3 days. Everyone's waiting for the last 3, and then it's an anticlimax.
Yeah. So is that the problem? Is it that some of the stages are so hard that the race is almost neutralised in advance?
The Tour next year, I don't know. Didn't really watch it, but my son said that one of the second last stages, Plan de Fil or something, isn't it?
Planche Belfi time trial.
But why wouldn't you have that on day 2? There's this fascination of it that make it as hard as you can in the last few days, and then it becomes an anticlimax, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because everyone's sort of cancelled each other out and everyone's fearing it, and the Giro's getting more and more brutal, isn't it?
It's harder and harder. I think it's the hardest. The Vuelta's harder and it's just a lot of climbing. I think the Giro's harder because it's just the weather, the long stages. It's just brutal in the way that it's the longer days on the
level of everybody in cycling is rising, and the difference between the people at the top is getting smaller. Yeah. So it's very difficult to differentiate.
That goes all the way down the line. That goes to sprinters. The difference between sprinters is getting smaller and smaller. It's just a matter of how they recover, and that's a matter of how they climb. So you look at Viviani, Sagan. This is why he always wins green jersey, because he can always climb better than the others, so he can take the points later in the stage. But that's for me, that's cycling these days.
I think what we'll see in the Tour next year, my favourite Grand Tour was the Vuelta last year. It was brilliant, even up in Andorra with that weather. We were talking about it earlier. It was absolutely amazing to be there, and long may that continue. But there's a lot more pressure. It's very difficult.
In the Vuelta?
No, for all cyclists now, the level is rising. You look at Mark Cavendish as well. Will he be back over the last 2 years because he's his viruses and things like that? It's
what was
very,
that?
very difficult.
Yeah, of course he will.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to just, you can't go into a Grand Tour now and ride into it. You have to be good right from the start.
Brad.
What?
Mark, Cavendish, new team, McLaren.
I went to the track the other day. He's got a lovely arse. I
saw that Insta story.
Kept slapping his arse, but then Cable Ewan walked past.
Okay, discussion point. Who's got a better arse? Cabaloon or Mark Cavendish?
It's not Campbell's.
I know it's not. He'll have you.
If Mark's still racing, you just never underestimate that guy. He thrives. He's not happy with 30 stage wins, And he always feels like he's got a point to prove. He's been underestimated his whole life, and that's what drives him. And I've never known someone to sacrifice so much at the expense of his family. Yeah, but I only did he's done it every year.
Yeah.
At the expense of his family. He's got a lovely family. And
it's getting more and more every year, though, through cycling.
I mean, Adam will tell you how difficult it is. Like you were saying earlier in the year, I just can't go out for 5 hours anymore and leave 3 kids.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Cav spends days away, obviously.
Away from his family.
Yeah, and he grafts, doesn't he, Cav?
He does,
just, as long as he's racing, don't underestimate him,
I think the main thing with Cav is he's got Rod back on his side. Mm-hmm. He's got Rod.
Ellingworth.
Yeah, he's got Roger Hammond as well, who he said is the best director he's ever had. So I think with these guys by his side, it's sort of like he's set this team up around him to be successful. So I can't see past him at the minute. I think everything's in place for him to be as best as he ever has been.
Really, as good as that?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Multiple stages at the Tour?
I don't think watch off.
Pardon?
He takes that watch off. He's got another couple.
I think multiple stages of the Tour isn't really. It's not a goal anymore. I think stage at the Tour for Cav is definitely a goal. But I also think for him, if he gets a stage at the Tour at his age and where he's at, that's an achievement. And I think for Cav especially, if he's going to do what he wants to do, there's no better place than him of where he's going to be right now. So
some people kind of wrote him off in 2015. We took him on to Team Dimension Data, and he won 4 stages of the Tour. So
anything to do with you, Brian?
You managed Team.
I sorted that. I sorted that.
But
that was me.
It's here.
David Brent.
It's here.
So what about the Brits next year then? We have been used to seeing dominance across the Grand Tours. Not so this year. I would say as a neutral, I find that refreshing. I think it's a good thing. for the wider world of cycling. But it would be nice,
Irish.
Especially being Irish, obviously. I mean, we had a good Vuelta, the Irish.
Yeah.
Any other Irish in? Yeah, there we go. I'm not on my own.
Yeah, there's one.
Half British though. But what can we expect from the British riders? Do you think next year? We had Chris Froome out. Geraint Thomas had a great season all the same. The Yates brothers. What can we expect from the British riders next year?
I think G is going to knock it out of the park.
In which race?
Every race he does. I think it was like, this sounds ridiculous, but when Brad, you won the Tour, and literally every race you did leading up to the Tour, you were flying, you were peaking. Romandy, you won a bunch sprint, unheard of.
Flying, we just didn't stop. I mean,
I think that's like G
flying?
though.
Where's flying? I mean,
but I think with G this year coming up,
if that team stage with the snow, I think G probably could have won the Tour. We don't know what would have happened to Bernal.
So you think on the stage that was cancelled
So up
with
to
the mudslide?
team, I think Bernal may have been caught. I think G's problem was the Tourmalet. I think he doubted himself a little bit for a couple of days after that, and I think the team doubted him a little bit. He was good enough to win that race this year.
That was more impressive this year with G than last year.
It was amazing what he did. After what he went through last year, I couldn't have done that.
Do you think, after everything he went through last year, and Chris Froome being the protected rider until, 3 stages before the end, regardless of the fact that Geraint had been in yellow, do you think, even though he had proven himself last year, that he had the backing of the team this year? Do you think Bernal was their favoured rider?
I don't think it mattered who was backing. The reason Dave's so good is as long as the team win, and it's brutal, He's known G's whole life, obviously, but that's why he gets it right all the time, and it's just about the team winning.
There's 2 riders that I want to see next year and see how far they go, and I think we've helped, our breakaway shows helped both of them. It's Hugh Carthy and James Knox. They're 2 riders that have come from, not many people know their names, know of them, but now they do, and especially James Knox with a haircut like a loo brush. He will do something next year. Hugh Carthy, as you said, bus driver from Preston. He's
not a bus driver, no. No, I said he's from Preston, he's a proper Northern lad. If he weren't a professional cycler, he'd be working at Yates's in Preston or Nando's or something.
I think they've gained confidence.
There he is in his bus driver pose.
And he was a breath of fresh air this year, wasn't he? He never took his helmet off.
Yeah.
I mean, and I said the tragedy, it's not disrespectful to Ineos that we don't want to see him in Ineos because it will lose his personality.
He's committed to this team.
And it's what a great time it is for British cycling. It really is.
What are we most excited about then next year? We've got riders moving teams. We mentioned Cav already. We've got the likes of Jumbo-Visma being bolstered further still. What are we expecting from next year? What's getting us fired up at this stage?
I want to see how much weight Adam puts on before we get to the Giro.
Adam's not going to put on too much weight. There's a very affectionately said here, but there's a vanity that wouldn't allow you to put on too much weight, I wouldn't think,
Orla.
Adam.
And
You've got to still fit into those shirts.
I have noticed he started wearing black instead of white. I started doing that 30 years ago.
Slimming.
Yeah.
you
Slimming.
look like you're wearing white, Brian.
Other than
I
Adam.
sent him that chest hair as a present. He stuck it on well.
Other than Adam eating some burgers, what are you looking forward to racing-wise? Think Jumbo-Visma can challenge Ineos?
No, I think the return of Chris Froome.
Yeah.
I think he's the best rider of our generation. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's a one-off, and it was becoming, I would say, boring but monotonous. You just get it right every year, wouldn't he? And even when he's like great football teams that don't play well but still win. He would still win the Tour when he didn't ride well. I think this will be the thing to prove one more time and win that 5th. I mean, what a comeback that would be. Come on.
As ever, we're running out of time, so just quickly, Brian, Adam.
Well, we are, because everyone's chatting, aren't
What are
they?
you looking forward to?
The orgy's starting.
What am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to see the return of Tom Dumoulin, see what he can do.
Adam, retirement.
Yeah, retirement is going to be great. I think with Brad, I think Froome coming back, but also how Team Ineos play that as a whole. I think that's the main thing. Are you all having a good time over there? Flipping heck.
Come on.
I think we've got a final few
might as well
pictures
listen.
that are our highlights of the year that maybe we can show. Is that right, Leah?
I had my first beer
sure.
once. It was great.
No, maybe we don't. I thought we had a few more pictures of Adam's
It's
shirts.
shit beer though. It's free alcohol.
We've probably seen enough. There we go.
It's not wife beer.
Which is our favourite shirt of Adam's? Yeah, we like that one.
Get ready to see Brian's shirts, all of one. It's the same one.
Oh, let's hope the third one is another blue shirt from Brian, is it? Oh, no, it's just... Yeah, that's the shirt we're talking about. Anyway, it's been a blast. And for anyone who's watched throughout the year, from the bottom of all of our hearts, thank you very much indeed. We've absolutely loved it, and it's meant the world to us that you've joined in the journey with us. It has been fantastic. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Blythe, Brian Smith, Sir Bradley Wiggins. We'll have to do the next.